Hello, dear readers. Welcome to Novel Spotlight. This is an audiobook of the novel The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Part 20.
And her father had paid this back by having an affair with this Nadia person and leaving her mother, and he still got terse with her. After all that, screw him, or at least this version of him. As she switched to freestyle, she realized it wasn't her fault that her parent had never been able to love her the way parents were meant to, without condition. It wasn't her fault her mother focused on her every flaw, starting with the asymmetry of her ears. No, it went back even earlier than that. The first problem had been that Nora had dared somehow to arrive into existence at a time where her parents' marriage was relatively fragile. Her mother fell into depression and her father turned to tumblers of single malt. She did 30 more lengths and her mind calmed and she started to feel free. Just her and the water. But when she eventually get out of pool and went back to her room, she dressed in the only clean clothes in her hotel room. Smart navy trouser suit and stared at the inside of her suitcase. She felt the profound loneliness emanating from it. There was a copy of her own book. She was staring out from the cover with the steely eyes, determination, and wearing a Team GB swimsuit. She picked it up and saw in small print that it was co-written with Amanda Sands. Amanda Sands, the internet told her, was ghostwriter to a whole host of sporting celebrities. Then she looked at her watch. It was time to head to the lobby. Standing, waiting for her, were two smartly dressed people she didn't recognize and one she most definitely did. He was wearing a suit and was clean shaving in this life. His hair side parted and business-like, but he was the same Joe. His dark eyebrows as bushy as ever. That's the Italian in you, as their mother used to say. Joe, that's more. He was smiling at her, a big, brotherly, uncomplicated smile. Morning, sis, he said, surprised by and a little awkward from the length of a hug she was giving him. When the hug was over, he introduced the other two people he was standing with. This is Priya from Glure Research, the people organizing the conference, obviously. And this is Rory, obviously, from the celebrity speakers. Hi, Priya, said Nora. Hi, Rory. So nice to meet you. Yes, it is, said Priya, smiling. We are so pleased to have you. You say that like you have never met before, said Rory with a booming laugh. Nora backtracked. Yes, I know we have met, Rory. Just my little joke. You know, my sense of humor. You have a little sense of humor? Good one, Rory. Okay, her brother said, looking at her and smiling. Do you want to see the space? She couldn't stop smiling. Here was her brother, whom she hadn't seen in 2 years and hadn't had any resemblance of a good relationship with in far longer. Looking healthy and happy and like he actually liked her. The space? Yeah, the hall where you'll be doing the talk. It's all set up, Priya added helpfully. Bloody big room, said Rory approvingly as he cradled a paper cup of coffee. So, Nora agreed and was led into a vast blue conference room with a wide stage and around 1,000 empty chairs. A technician in black came up and asked her, What do you fancy? Lapel or headset or handheld? Sorry? What kind of mic will you want up there? Oh, headset, her brother interjected on Nora's behalf. Yeah, headset, said Nora. I was just thinking, her brother said, after that nightmare we had with the microphone in Cardiff. Yeah, totally. What a nightmare. Priya was smiling at her, wanted to ask something. Am I right in thinking you have got no multimedia stuff, no slider or anything? I... Her brother and Rory were looking at her, a little concerned. This was clearly a question she should know the answer and didn't. Yes, she said, then saw her brother's expression. I don't. Yes, I don't. I don't have any multimedia stuff. And they all looked at her like she was not quite right, but she smiled through it. Chapter 22. Peppermint tea. 10 minutes later, she was sitting on her own with her brother in something called the VIP Business Lounge, which was just a small, airless room with some chairs and a table offering selections of today's newspaper. A couple of middle-aged men in suit were typing things into laptop. By this point, she had worked out that her brother was her manager and that he had been her manager for 7 years since she had given up professional swimming. Are you okay about all this? Her brother asked, having just got 2 drinks from the coffee machine. He tore a sachet to release a tea bag, peppermint. He placed it into the cup of hot water he had taken from the coffee machine. Then he handed it to Nora. She had never drunk peppermint tea in her life. That's for me? Well, yeah, it was the only herbal they had. He had coffee for himself that Nora secretly craved. Maybe in this life she didn't drink caffeine. Are you okay about all this? Okay about all what? Nora wondered. The talk today. Oh, yeah. How long is it again? 40 minutes. Sure. It's a lot of money. I upped it up from 10. That's very good of you. Well, I still get my 20%. Hardly a sacrifice. Nora tried to think how she could unlock their shared history, how she could find out why in this life they were sitting together and getting along. It might have been money, but her brother had never been particularly money motivated. And yes, sure. And yes, he was obviously been upset when Nora walked away from the deal with the record company, but that had been because he wanted to play guitar in the labyrinth for the rest of his life and be a rock star. After dipping it a few times, Nora let the tea bag free in the water. Do you ever think of how our lives could have been different? You know, like if I have never stuck with swimming.
For the next part, stay tuned to Novel Spotlight. And please like, share, and subscribe.